Something is wrong with the ocean. My name is Bill. Welcome to the Night Terrors Weekend Show. And we're starting right now. My Banned by YouTube series on YouTube drops a new episode every Wednesday morning. Every one of these videos was banned by YouTube, so don't miss it. If you value what I do on the Night Terrors streams and the Night Terrors videos, the best way to support the channel is to join as a member on YouTube. You will find the join button right next to the Night Terrors channel name in the description below. Thank you for supporting the show. Welcome to Eldergrown and welcome to Takahama Plateau. I hope I am broadcasting ever. Yes, we are. TO2 is on YT. Welcome TO2. We're broadcasting everywhere. Let's get started. Here at obrag.org. Now, this is not an article we're going to read. David Bryce says, good evening. Welcome, David. Rhino Rex says, hey, Bill. Hey, crew. We're not reading this article, just the one I'm thinking of. Am I in the right place? Yes. Oh, go back one, maybe. Yes. This is the original article was on a Telenews, and it's very long and very technical. So we're gonna go to another website to get the more understandable version. Deep Plateau, thanks for the jewels, much appreciated, ma'am. And that site is here at timebomb2000.com. And the article from this is from Telenews as well, but it looks better. The title is Southern Ocean Current Reverses for the First Time, Signaling Risk of Climate System Collapse. Written by BNE. A major ocean current in the southern hemisphere has reversed direction for the first time in recorded history. Tina T. Ms. Tomaszewski is here. Tina was one of the original veterans of the first Night Terror series. Welcome, Tina. In what climatologists are calling a catastrophic tipping point in the entire global climate system. The development, which was confirmed by Spanish marine scientists at El Institut de Ciencias del Mar in Barcelona. Welcome, Big Al One. Has triggered widespread alarm among climate scientists due to its potential to accelerate global warming and destabilize weather patterns worldwide. The stunning reversal of ocean circulation in the southern hemisphere confirms the global climate system has entered a catastrophic phase, according to climate activist Ben C. in a post on social media. The collapse involves the deep overturning circulation in the South Atlantic, part of a global conveyor belt of ocean currents, which usually pulls cold, nutrient-rich water up from the ocean floor and drives heat distribution for the entire planet. Welcome to Silver Slipper. Silver Slipper says they will blame it on humans and cow incontinence. Thank you, Silver Slipper 777. The study, published on July the 2nd, identifies a collapse and reversal of the deep western boundary current in the South Atlantic, a key part of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. Gotcha Man is here. Gotcha Man says, good evening, and a weird animal that could be a cryptid, but is definitely not. Oh, upcoming topic. Thank you, Gotcha Man. Got it. Thank you, G-Man. Copy that. Put it in the list. A list of 2. We still need suggestions, people. The current system plays a crucial role in regulating temperatures around the globe and storing atmospheric carbon dioxide deep in the ocean. The data shows that the flow of the current reversed from north to south in 2023, the first such event in 30 years of continuous monitoring. Physicist and lead author Dr. Marilena Oltmans, who warned the changes could alter the Southern Ocean's capacity to keep heat and keep carbon dioxide, said, "This is an unprecedented observation and a game changer." According to the ICM-CSIC, whatever that is, the reversal is likely linked to an ongoing weakening of the Antarctic, overturning circulation, a deep ocean process driven by the formation of cold, salty water masses near Antarctica. The system has slowed by 40% since the 90s, and new findings suggest it may be destabilizing regional ocean dynamics more rapidly than anybody knew. There's been a lot of speculation about that the whole Gulf Stream could come to a halt. I mean, stand still. The Gulf Stream brings warm water to Europe from the equator. And when it stops flowing, they say when, that will lead to a mini ice age in Europe, with winter temperatures dropping by 10 to 30 degrees centigrade. While scientists are 98% certain that the Gulf Stream will stop flowing by the year 2100, recent studies suggest the collapse could come as soon as this year. This article dated Monday, this past Monday at 6 p.m. That's its date. It's 6 days old. The report warns that the reversal of the current could also unleash vast amounts of carbon dioxide currently trapped in deep ocean reservoirs. The reversal will undermine the ocean's role as a carbon sink, which currently absorbs a quarter of all CO2 emissions on the planet. The report said this could double the current carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, releasing carbon that has been stored in the deep ocean for centuries. Such a release would obliterate existing climate targets, as the additional emission would overwhelm current carbon budgets. How much we can stand, the budget. Marty Price says, if it stops flowing, it'll heat up and render mitigation strategies based on gradual reductions obsolete or impossible. The study warned. Ryu 1972 says, yeah, sure. Welcome, Ryu. Elder Grown says, everyone says the sky is falling, and we can fix it if we pay more taxes. The planet is sending us increasingly clear signals that we are crossing the threshold, the study warns, characterizing this event as a shift from stress to breakdown. The reversal threatens to weaken the ocean's crucial role as a carbon sink, one of the Earth's key natural defenses against rising atmospheric CO2, and will disrupt global weather systems, sea level patterns, and marine ecosystems, The event coincides. Welcome, Green Tea. Green Tea, do you have a suggestion this evening? This event coincides with an unprecedented marine heat wave in the Mediterranean Sea. A Spanish meteorological buoy recorded a sea temperature of 31 degrees centigrade on July the 4th, this July 4th. As hot as a bath. The northwestern Mediterranean Sea has recorded a temperature anomaly of more than 6 degrees above the former average. Part of a pattern of record heat waves that are reshaping entire ecosystems, according to scientists. The northwestern Mediterranean Sea, oh, I read that one already. Now check this out. This is a graph, and we're not going to go through each line, but the orange bar here, the one that's all colored in, that's current up to today. This is July. There's July right there. Can you notice how the slope is steeper? That's why they're saying the total collapse could happen this year. If this slope continues, it's not going to be good. That's the heat slope. While ocean circulations have shifted in the deep in the past due to glacial cycles, the current reversal is the first to occur in modern times. Researchers now warned of increased risk of abrupt changes in monsoon patterns, the collapse of fisheries, and a rapid rise of sea level in the southern hemisphere. They are calling for immediate global attention and a reassessment of climate strategies in the light of this development. Climatologist Ben C. on social media wrote, "The stunning reversal of an ocean current confirms the global climate system has entered catastrophe. The reversal of the current will bring cold water up from the deep, in which is trapped CO2. That means the reversal could double the current atmospheric CO2 concentrations." Why are they repeating themselves? Read this already. The Institute added, "The planet is sending us increasingly clear signals that we are crossing critical thresholds." That is the end of the article. I think the rest are like comments. Mostly, yeah, I remember the movie. Mostly offhand comments. What do we have here? Thanks. No thanks. Here at CNN.com, story by Laura Pattison, entitled "Scientists Mapped What Happens If a Crucial System of Ocean Currents Collapses." This is an older story by a little less than a month, from June 11th. Thank you, Green Tea, for the suggestion, ma'am. Good one, Rhino Rex. Got it as well. Thank you, Rhino. And I'm going to just put these in the proper order here on the list. We could use one more suggestion. Anyone who is so inclined. Marty Price says the Gulf Stream actually pulls water away from the coastlines. So if the Gulf Stream stops, I guess those European coastlines are going to suffer as well. So this was before the release of the story. The scientific community has been looking at this for a couple of years, maybe a decade, maybe more. But so this is in an article just 1 month preceding the findings. And this is what will happen if the whole system collapses. The collapse of crucial Atlantic Ocean currents could push parts of the world into a deep freeze, with winter temperatures plunging to around minus 55 degrees Fahrenheit in some cities, read their European cities, bringing profound climate impacts and impacts to society. No kidding, 55 degrees less, according to a new study. There's increasing concern about the future of the Gulf Stream, a system of currents that works like a giant conveyor belt, pulling warm water from the southern hemisphere and the tropics to the northern hemisphere, where it cools, sinks, and flows back south. Multiple studies suggest the Gulf Stream is weakening, with some projecting it could even collapse this century. The new study predicting perhaps this year. As global warming disrupts the balance of heat and salinity that keeps it moving. This would usher in huge global weather and climate shifts, including plunging temperatures in Europe, which relies on the Gulf Stream for its mild climate. Welcome to Rockers, who correctly points out there will be an ice age in Europe. Good catch, Rockers. Sharp Rust is here. Welcome, Sharpie. Synchro 505 has arrived. Michael provides all the incidental music for the show. What's less clear, however, is how these impacts will unfold in a world heated up by humans burning fossil fuels. René van Westen, a marine and atmospheric researcher at Utrecht University in the Netherlands, said, "What if the Gulf Stream collapses and we have climate change? Does the cooling win or does the warming win?" This new study is the first to use a modern, complex climate model to answer that question, René told CNN. And René's a guy. René. The researchers looked at a scenario where the Gulf Stream weakens by 80%, and the Earth is around 2 degrees Celsius warmer than the period before humans began burning large amounts of oil and gas. The planet is currently at 1.2 degrees of warming. They focused on what would happen as the climate stabilized after the collapse of the Gulf Stream, decades into the future, or this year. Even in this hotter world, they found substantial cooling over Europe, with sharp drops in average winter temperatures and more intense cold extremes. A very different picture than the U.S., where the study found temperatures would continue to increase with the collapse of the Gulf Stream. Since ice would spread southward as far as Scandinavia, parts of the United Kingdom and the Netherlands, not since ice, sea ice would spread southward as far as the Netherlands, the researchers found. This would have a huge impact on cold extremes because it reflects the sun. The scientists have created an interactive map, we got to see that, to visualize the impacts of the Gulf Stream collapse across the globe. We'll check that out in a second. Let me just open it up here. All right, they'll just wait there for us. London, for example, could see winter cold extremes of minus 2.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Oslo could see temperatures as low as minus 55 Fahrenheit and endure maximum temperatures below 32 degrees Fahrenheit for half of the year. Parts of Europe will also become stormier. The increased temperature difference between northern and southern Europe will strengthen the jet stream, increasing storm intensity over northwestern Europe. Van Westen said, It completely shifts the narrative because now we have to plan for a warmer, because now everyone's planning for a warmer future, global warming. But instead, we need to also prepare for the colder future. While cooling on an ever hotter planet may sound like good news, Van Westen warns it's not. Society in many parts of the Northern Hemisphere is, quote, not built for these kind of cold extremes. And, quote, crops would die, threatening food security. Infrastructure would buckle. What's more, the impacts of a Gulf Stream collapse would mostly be felt in Europe's winter. It would still endure increasingly deadly heat waves in the summer as the climate crisis intensifies. The Southern Hemisphere, meanwhile, is projected to experience increased warming, along with the U.S. The scientists also looked at the impacts of a Gulf Stream collapse in an even hotter world. If global temperatures reach around 4 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, the heat outweighs the cooling impact of a Gulf Stream collapse in Europe. The warming signal actually wins, said Van Westen. But he added, a Gulf Stream collapse won't only affect temperatures. Other impacts include sea level rise, affecting the U.S. particularly. Oh, I guess it's the U.S. that'll get the brunt of the sea level rise. Watch out, Florida. Watch out, California, where a weaker Gulf Stream is already driving significantly increased flooding on the northeastern coast, according to recent research. Looks like California may be safe. However, Florida, we're looking at an underwater scenarios there. Good evening, Dom Cortez. Welcome, sir. Rana Rex wants to know, who's their climate scientist? Miss Cleo. I think I have a picture of Miss Cleo here. I protect it. And here it is. Miss Cleo's tarot deck. Pretty interesting designs. I think I got the major arcana. I think I got all the trumps on top. Let's see, what do we got? The Hermit. It's Egyptian theme. The Tower. Judgment. Sorry for the trembling hand. My left hand is actually my good hand. Temperance. Justice, although I don't know if they used scales in Egypt like that. They must have, though, right? Must have used scales. They had to weigh stuff. Yes, Synchro 505, Miss Cleo was advertising during the heyday of 900 telephone numbers. As you can see, as seen on TV. This is not a paid endorsement. Putting away the deck. All right, we got a little bit of debunky stuff here. We'll skip to the next paragraph. What is crystal clear is that the Gulf Stream collapse would be very bad for society, according to Van Westen, and we want to avoid it. at all costs. End of article. And, oh yeah, that interactive map. This is called Gulf Stream Collapse Visualization. We're quite map opacity. Where's max? No, we'll go to maximum maximum on opacity. Opacity? Welcome, Peta. Hope that's Peta. Let's see. How do you use this? I mean, this says, I thought it said, oh, that's the U.S. Okay. Oh, we're going minus here, right? Okay, here we go. Oh, this is heat or something. What? What is this? Oh, this is the number of degrees. So where's the, here we go, metrics. Annual average temperature, right here. That must be current. June, July, August. I assume average. It does say average, yeah. Interesting. December, January, February. A lot more cold, seeping down into North America and Europe. Cold extreme event. Whoa. For what part of the year, though? They don't stay. Warm extreme event. Whoa. Sea ice cover. The extent of sea ice cover during March, currently. Annual freezing days, currently annual freezing nights. Annual warm days, annual hot days, annual tropical nights. What are scientists going to do about this? What are the proposals? Thank you, Eldergrown, for putting that link into the chat, sir. Austin Cloud is here. Always great to see you as well, Austin. What are those scientists going to do? Well, here's one idea, which sounds ridiculous to me, but this is the only thing I could find. The bold plan to save a vital ocean current with giant parachutes. At newscientist.com and written by Madeline Cuff. And Miss Cuff begins. Verpine, welcome. And thank you, Verpine, for subscribing with Prime. People, if you have Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you can, for free, subscribe to one channel, and that should be Night Terrors. And Miss Cuff begins. Shipping containers, drones, and fishing boats could be used. Verpine, thank you for the super chat, sir. Much appreciated, Verpine. Could be used to drag giant parachutes through the waters of the Atlantic Ocean as part of a drastic plan, no kidding, drastic, to avert catastrophic climate change. The Atlantic, they call it the AMOC. The Gulf Stream transports warm water from tropics northwards, helping to keep northern Europe temperate and the U.S. cool. However, a rapidly melting Arctic and warming ocean temperatures are weakening the current, with some scientists fearing it could shut down altogether at some point in the coming century. The previous articles having already indicated one current has completely reversed, and the rest may follow or come to a standstill this year. This is an older article. By older, I mean from June last month, 2025. This would plunge oceanic ecosystems into chaos and rapidly cool Europe's climate by several degrees. Is that the extent of the article? That it? Where's the plan? We'll continue reading. We have to find this elsewhere, it looks like. The bold plan to save. Let's see if we can find this at another place. Make this a search engine. And search. We were just at Science Direct, right? That was Science Direct, wasn't it? I'll never know. 7 days ago. That sounds like the one. Okay, well, we'll try MSN. Scientists want to use giant parachutes to stop the Gulf Stream from collapsing. By William Hunter. As climate change disrupts the planet, experts are worried that a key ocean current called the Gulf Stream may collapse. This current is responsible for driving the Gulf Stream and bringing warm water from the tropics northwards to keep Europe temperate and to cool down the United States. Well observed, Monty Price. Marty says cold water from the deep could be piped to the surface in a natural siphoning action. That's a good idea. Now, scientists have proposed a radical solution to save this system and prevent Europe from slipping into a new ice age. That's what a change of a few degrees means. An ice age for Europe, not for the U.S. The U.S. will get warmer. Researchers say tugboats could tow huge underwater parachutes through the ocean to manually power the current. Imagine towing an underwater parachute. How can you tow all that water with a tugboat? You've got to be kidding me. Each parachute would be half the size of a football field and would feature a 12-meter hole in the center to allow ocean life to pass through. With just 30 to 50 shipping containers and drones and fishing boats, or wind kites operating 365 days a year, you would have enough to power the entire Gulf Stream. I don't know about that. Tina says that'd take one big sump pump. Professor Stuart Hazeldine of the University of Edinburgh and David Sevier, founder of the water treatment Strengite, presented the idea at the Arctic Repair Conference in Cambridge 1 month ago. Hazeldine told Mail Online, "We think this is a remedy well worth trying. We want to keep the flows of ocean currents similar to what we know works in the current situation." The Gulf Stream is the largest ocean current in the world and runs from south to north through the Atlantic Ocean. As warm water travels northward from the tropics, it hits sea ice around Greenland and the Nordic countries, cooling and gaining salt. As the water cools, it becomes more dense, sinking rapidly towards the bottom of the ocean where it flows back south, before once again warming and rising to the surface. This process of deep water formation is the engine for a vast global conveyor belt which pumps heat and water all around the Atlantic. But climate change is now melting the northern sea ice, warming the ocean, and sparking fears that the engine driving this current could soon stall. Parachutes indeed. Okay, guys, it is time for the first suggestion. That is from T Plateau. Eldergrown says, notice they overlook how much fuel would be burned by this scheme. Right. As we increase global warming to prevent global warming or global cooling. Thank you, Verpine, for the topic. Looks lovely, V. Thank you. Put that on the list. And from T Plateau. Where we want to go? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Let's just paste this now. And delete that. Where is Branson Perry? And the time is 36 minutes past the hour. Search. Okay, Rhino Rex, got it. And thank you. Disappearance of Branson Perry. Eerie details at the Sun. Oh, I like the Sun. Oh, that's the U.S. Sun? I prefer the UK Sun. maybe the U.S. Sun is like the UK Sun. Let's find out. I've never been to the U.S. Sun. Here is a story by Rachel Dobkin entitled Mystery Deepens. Eerie details emerge in disappearance of man, age 20, who vanished without a trace from a shed near his home. Hopefully his own shed. New evidence has pointed to a suspect in the disappearance of a 20-year-old man after he vanished more than 2 decades ago. Excuse me. Branson Perry was cleaning up his house in Skidmore, Missouri, awaiting his father's return from the hospital in April of 2001. We're looking at 24 years. There he is. Caption reads, while he was putting something away in his shed. Recent graduate. He went to put some jumper cables in a shed near his home, but then disappeared without a trace. The case turned cold after detectives couldn't find any leads. But Michael Kurtz, a New Jersey cop, wouldn't give up and spent his off time looking for clues in Perry's disappearance. For 18 years. When is this story dated? This is from 22, so 3 years ago. So 3 years. He started 3 years after. I assume he's still working on it. Kurtz told the outlet, News Press Now, I started reading his case and there were so many twists and turns that didn't add up. That's why I started researching. Just out of curiosity. During his research, Kurtz posted information about the case on social media in hopes that someone would reach out to him with a tip. He went to great lengths, even visiting Perry's hometown on his summer vacation last year. Both Kurtz and the Nottoway County Sheriff's Office concluded that Perry's case was related to illicit substances. Perry's aunt, Gail McMurray, told News Press Now that she knew her nephew to be a compassionate man who loved nature. Perry eventually confided in his aunt about wanting to get off the illicit substance. She said, "He kept that part of him away from me. I knew about him going camping and all the fun stuff, and about his personal life, but I didn't know anything about that life." Perry vanished only days before he was set to go to rehab. After years of searching, Kurtson, Nottoway County Sheriff Randy Strong claimed to have found a suspect. But even after decades of investigation, they don't have enough evidence to arrest anybody. Green Tea asks, Skidmore, Missouri, is that also where the town bully was wounded on Main Street in the middle of the day and no one saw anything? Question to the audience. Nottoway County Captain Austin Hahn told the outlet, "You want to make sure you have as much evidence as you can to get probable cause to make that arrest and send a good, solid, full case up to the courts to get a conviction on that and get some justice. For an arrest to be made, Kurtz said the body would likely have to be found. But Perry's remains were never recovered. Kurtz said it's difficult to make an arrest for a situation like a homicide without a body or Branson's remains. Branson, rather. Perry's aunt believes the people are too scared to provide the evidence needed to make an arrest. McMurray said, "People don't want to come forward. Their lives are going to be in danger if they know who did it. Someone knows something," he said. "I promised his father and grandparents that I would never give up on finding Branson." Kurtz also is not ready to give up. "I'm never going to let his name die," said Kurtz. "I'm going to keep this case active. I refuse to quit. And I want everybody to know his case." And end of story. Wow, not too much meat on that bone, huh? And there's got to be a story with greater detail, one would think. Let's ask ChatGPT where to find it. Let's copy the guy's name. Branson Perry. I need the URL of an article that has the most information on the disappearance of, and paste in that name, Branson Perry. Welcome, Telesphorus Abraxas. Telesphorus says this guy dresses up for his uploads. Not many people left with class and self-respect. Thank you, Telesphorus. Or Telesphorus. Appreciated. The most comprehensive source is the Wikipedia page. Okay, I usually don't like to go to Wikipedia, but give it a shot. Oh boy, that's lots of nice small print here. There we go, a little bit better. Disappeared from his residence at 304 West Oak Street in Skidmore, Missouri. He received national media coverage for this. and was profiled extensively by journalist and crime writer Diane Fanning in a book. He disappeared on the afternoon of April 11th, 2001, after walking out of his house, having told a visiting friend he was returning a pair of jumper cables to an exterior shed. This was the last time he was seen. We know that. We didn't know about the friend, though. They recovered message board posts made from wow. Yeah, in the other article, they didn't even name the suspect. But here, they might have here. Because it says here, after several years of investigation, police arrested Jack Wayne Rogers of Fulton, Missouri, on various charges unrelated to Perry's disappearance. But in their investigation, they recovered message board posts made from Rogers' home computer that described a first-hand account of Perry's sexual assault and unaliving. Rogers denied any involvement, and on the unrelated charges, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison in 2004. I wondered if ChatGPT. I wonder if AI knows if Rogers is out of jail. Let's copy his name here. Is Jack out of jail yet? And for Jack, we'll substitute his full name. And go. Still in prison. According to publicly available sentencing information, he is eligible until 2028. So 3 short years from now. At which point he'll be 83 years old. Back to Wikipedia. Branson Perry was born in 1981 and raised in Missouri. He graduated from Nottoway Holt High School in 1999. After graduating, he worked odd jobs, including work as a roofer and helping maintain a traveling petting zoo. He lived with his father, Bob Perry. His parents were recently divorced. He suffered from tachycardia, a condition that made his heart race excessively. He was a black belt in Hapkido. A black belt? It says here the younger Perry. Maybe they mean the older Perry, who's probably more likely to suffer from tachycardia and have enough experience to be a black belt. I think there's a mistake here in Wikipedia. Thank you, Eldergrown. Good moderator. Rhino Rex wants to know, didn't that guy basically kidnap a guy's daughter and force her into marrying him? Oh, they must be talking about something else. On April 7th, Perry visited the home of his neighbor, Jason Bierman, and was inadvertently drugged. While intoxicated, he allegedly danced around the house sans clothing, shaved his hair, and engaged with relations with Bierman. After the incident, welcome Crowman, 1965. Colin is an excellent composer. Check out his compositions on YouTube. Throw a link in there if you want, Crowman. Throw a link into chat for us. We always have new people here. After the incident, Perry confessed it to his father and was upset, as he felt he had been taken advantage of. No kidding. Perry's father said he knew that his son was gay and suspected he had encounters with men in the past, and was angry with Bierman for drugging and then using his son. On Wednesday afternoon of April 11th, 2011, Gotcha Man says black belt in Japanese joint lock martial arts. Yeah, that's a full-time hobby. Yeah, it has to be the senior guy. Tachycardia and black belt. Has to be. Austin Cloud is watching us and also the UFC fights on the same time. Having a great Saturday night. Way to go, Austin. Multitasking. Perry invited his friend Jenna over to the house to help clean the residence, as his father Bob, who had recently been hospitalized, was due to return home. At this time, 2 other unnamed men were outside the residence working on Bob's car, which needed a new alternator. We got 3 other people there. At approximately 3 p.m., Perry told Jenna he was going to take a pair of jumper cables outside to a shed adjacent to the house. That was the last time he was seen. On April the 2nd, Perry's grandmother, Joanne, stopped by his home and found the house unlocked and deserted. So his 3 friends just, oh, where is he? Who knows? Then left. She found this unusual and called the residents periodically over the next several days, receiving no answer. Upon calling Perry's mother, Rebecca Clino, she found she had not spoken to him either. Bob was discharged from the hospital several days later than planned, and after his release, he and Clino filed a missing persons report. Ground search parties were organized by Nottoway County Police in a 15-mile radius. Numerous fields, farms, and abandoned buildings were searched, but the efforts proved fruitless. During a search of the property, police were unable to locate any jumper cables. 2 weeks later, however, they were found just inside the door. Over the following month and a half, returning to the scene of the crime, over 100 people were interviewed in Perry's disappearance. Jenna, who had been at Perry's home the day of the disappearance, also a male name, admitted to law enforcement he had recently been experimenting with illicit substances. A family member also informed police that Perry had a bottle of an illicit substance in his possession the day he disappeared. Law enforcement questioned drug acquaintances of Perry's in St. Joseph, but all stated they had not seen him, and each passed a polygraph test. Further investigation into the local illicit substance trade was undertaken, but no discernible leads were uncovered, despite rumors that Perry owed dealers money. Bob initially suspected his son had left to stay with friends in Kansas City. Because Perry did not have a working car at the time, Bob presumed he may have hitchhiked. Not when you're staying at home and your pop is due home, I don't think. While investigating Roger's personal belongings, detectives discovered child porn on his computer, as well as evidence of various posts made on message boards under the name, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read that one. But the other ones are Oh Hail Satan and Extreme Body Mods. posts describing the graphic torture and assault of multiple men. Now, Rogers is Rogers is the suspect, right? Is that right? Well, we asked the question, right? Is he in here? Yeah, he's the suspect. Jack Wayne Rogers. Rogers was arrested on charges of first-degree assault and practicing medicine without a license after removing a transgender woman's genitals. Oh, my goodness. In a makeshift gender reassignment surgery at a hotel in the same state. While investigating Rogers' personal belongings. Oh, I read that part already. In the posts, Rogers also discussed cannibalizing parts of men that he had castrated. Among these posts was a first-hand account of... good choice there, T. Plateau. Among these posts was a first-hand account of Rogers picking up a blonde male hitchhiker, then sexually assaulting, torturing, mutilating, and unaliving him. In an online post, it was claimed that the man's body was buried in a remote area of the Ozarks. Despite this, Rogers denied ever seeing Perry or knowing him, and asserted that the post was fabricated and purely fantasy. Law enforcement, however, suspected the man in question was Perry. Okay, so this is what happened to Perry. Picking up a blonde male hitchhiker. But if he he left his friends in the house. Wait a minute. Would you leave your friends in the house? Two guys out front, one guy in the house. He said he was going to put the jumper cables in the shed. What? You don't leave the house when you have company, right? But they thought that it was a blonde male hitchhiker. I don't know. I don't know if that qualifies Rogers as a suspect. While performing a subsequent search of Rogers' property. Oh, here we go. A turtle claw necklace, resembling one owned by Perry, was discovered in one of his vehicles. I guess so. T. Plateau says, I sure know how to pick 'em. Rhino Rex says, holy heck, this guy's a real winner. In April 2004, Rogers was convicted on those other charges and sentenced to 17 years in prison. That was for assault, and 7 years for performing illegal surgery, as well as 30 years for child porn charges, which would run concurrent with the former two charges. I guess the former one concurrent with the former two. 30 years. 17, 7. So the highest amount of years that he was sentenced to is what he was. What would be the sentence? At his sentencing, Perry's mother begged for Rogers to reveal his whereabouts. But Rogers denied being involved in the disappearance. His earliest release date is October 30th, 2028, when he will be 83. Elder says the depravity of man truly knows no bounds. After attending the sentencing, Perry's mother stated she no longer felt Rogers was responsible for her son's disappearance. Well, I don't know. They found that necklace. The police are not completely ruling him out, but now the investigation has turned towards Skidmore again. Skidmore, Missouri. They've received new leads there. I suppose time has a way of unraveling secrets. I believe someone in that area knows what happened to Branson. This is his mother. In my heart, I don't believe this suspect is responsible. Despite the nightmare I lived through at his sentencing, I am thankful that someone with that much evil will never walk the streets again. Subsequent developments. Perry's father died 3 years after his disappearance. 5 years later, in June, law enforcement revealed they were completing an excavation of a site in Quitman, Missouri, after receiving a credible tip that Perry's remains may be there. Over a period of 2 days, excavators dug a 23-foot hole, covering an area of around 20 feet by 40 feet. So we're talking, you're multiplying, right? That's 800 square feet, right? That's a lot of feet. Gruesome story, says Verpine, no doubt. At the time, another local farmer who resided 1.5 miles east of Quiltman, where they were digging, stated that law enforcement had searched his property several years prior, searching for an abandoned well, but the search yielded no results. In 2010, Clino offered a $20,000 reward for information leading to her son's whereabouts. The next year, she expired after a year-long battle with melanoma. Oh gosh, I wish I hadn't rested over that one. Joanne Stinnett, Perry's grandmother, said at the time of her daughter's death, "Around town we searched every oil well, every outside toilet. We searched everywhere that was possible for us to think that something could be there." End quote. Monica Kaysen, the founder of the Q Center for Missing Persons and a friend of his mother, stated that she and other close friends had promised her they would continue to look for her son. In her obit, it was noted that Clino was preceded in death by Perry, and she was buried beside an empty plot for her son that lists his date as April 11th, 2001, the same day he disappeared. In 2022, the current Nottoway County Sheriff announced a suspect had been identified, but more evidence was needed before an arrest could be made. That one they're not going to name. And that's the one we just read about in the first story. It is 3 minutes past the hour. And time for Gotcha Man's suggestion. And that is whoops. Oh no, wrong one. What am I doing wrong? I don't know why that's still there. Supposed to be doing this one. Come on, paste it in there. Try again. No. There we go. The Damascus goat. Plateau with an important message. Those interested in the case should check it out. Damascus Goat at thehappychickencoop.com. Damascus Goat, the viral goat monster you should know about. And a story written by Cheryl Howell. Oh. No thanks. And Ms. Howell begins. Have you ever seen a Damascus goat in real life? This breed looks like a goat straight out of a science fiction book. It's often labeled as a monster. It's an ugly creature due to its bizarre appearance. Its short face, protruding jaw, and folds in the face make it look grotesque. Yet ironically, it was hailed as the most beautiful goat in 2008. Is that the one right there? Let's find out. We got to see what Damascus goats look like. That goat doesn't look too ugly to me. Definitely looks evil. And we want to go here. Damascus goat. Oh, God. That is one ugly animal. No, that other one was not a Damascus goat. That one is cute compared to this. Oh, my God. It looks like some... Oh, my God. Oh, I can't stand it. Open image, a new tab. No resolution, but... Oh, my God. Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh. Oh, my God. Yeah, they're ugly. Oh, my God. That's bad. Yeah, they put a nice little friendly-looking goat at the top of their article. They want to scare people away from reading. You probably disagree. But this breed has so much to offer that it makes up for its strange appearance. So in this article, Green Tea asks, is there audio of their bleating? Ah, good idea. Let's ask AI, ChatGPT. I need a downloadable MP3 or WAV of a bleating goat of the breed Damascus goat. And of course, they said bleeding instead of bleating. So we're going to have to correct that spelling. That spelling mistake by Dragon. And go. Mystery Flowers here. Welcome, Mystery. Free downloadable goat bleats. I need the goat bleeding effect. I need specifically the Damascus goat. A clean 1 second bleat. Goat bleat collection on Pixabay. Pixabay offers a library of royalty-free goat sounds and upbeat goat bleat sound effects. Here's what I found regarding a downloadable goat sound labeled as Damascus. Okay, does that take us there? Not sure if that is a link. Oh, it is. Type. It doesn't say Damascus, though. It does not say Damascus. Bleeding goat number 1, big sound bank. Search sounds. We'll just look for Damascus. Damascus. Oh, no results. AI lies. It does. AI will lie to you. You want to hear this? Let's try Pixabay. URL for Pixabay goat bleat collection. Pixabay. Goat bleat collection. Pixabay. Goat sound effects. I said pigs, but it's really not pigs. It's really bleats. Okay, there's the URL. Let's hope it still works because neither is AI up to date usually. Here we go. 64 goat sounds. Search for Damascus. None. There's no Damascus listed here. Okay, line number 2. Number 3. Upbeat. Classic royalty-free bleat clips. I need a URL for the goat bleats at Upbeat. Elder going with a nice link. Thank you, Elder. Find any sound on the web. You gotta love that. And where's Damascus go? There it is. Let me just paste that whole title in there. Search. Boy, it is hot in this studio. And I forgot my ice water. I took to settle for cold coffee. See link, says green tea. Nubian goat. Goat, baby goat. 1 to 10 of 28 labeled Damascus. Nubian, baby. Goats, goat kid, goat. Say Damascus. We search for the word. Control search for Damascus. It's there. It's found here once, and that's in my search. No, 2 times. Where's the next one? Oh, yeah, well, that's just, it says labeled Damascus goat, but then it says Nubian goat here. And in the URLs themselves, there's no Damascus listed. So there's 3 more pages. Check out page 2. Position your mic, Bill. Okay. Something wrong with the... I don't understand. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? I'm so vain. You were getting real quiet. Oh, thank you, Elder. Not usually a problem with me. Continue. Find Damascus 0 times here. That's both in the description or the file name and in the URL itself. There is no Damascus. Last chance. And then we're going to take AI to task. Is there Damascus here? 0. Oh, wait. No, 1 there. 2. What about the previous page? Control F. You have to search for it to find it. No, just the 2, which are not in any files or URLs. Nubian goats are a proper looking goat. It says Rapine and it has a link. Yeah, there's a proper looking goat. So nothing like the, okay, we got to take AI to task here. None of those sources contain the bleat of a Damascus goat. I couldn't find any audio files now, he tells us. Labeled as Damascus goat bleat, available for direct download. TikTok, Damascus goat sound, published last week. And I can't play a video, though. TikTok, YouTube short, I can't do any of that. How about any downloadable directly file, sound, with Damascus and goat in the file name, or Damascus as part of the URL. Give it a chance to redeem itself. Synchro says, can just imagine a witch adding ingredients to their brew, adding bleat of Damascus goat. Yeah, it's still saying, it's still giving up on that. Extract audio from a Damascus goat video. Request a field recording from a breeder. Wait a minute. We can do that now. Gotcha Man says, my research is saying they sound about the same as a regular goat, just a little deeper and raspier because of their weird faces. Okay, well, so we got to play a goat bleat then, right? So where in this long chain of failures are we going to find that? The big sound bank? Continue. Try the big sound bank. Can we go back on that? Bleat of a goat. Stereophonic. Where is it? That's an advertisement. Listen, download, download, download. It looks like this. It's royalty free. Download. And Gotcha Man says they're deeper and raspier. Okay, we'll try to, excellent, it's a wave. We'll try to duplicate that. I'm going to download that to the show file. Something is wrong with the ocean. Save it in the main file. That should still be an open folder, and it is. And we're going to open that. We're going to select all. We're going to apply an effect, which is going to be pitch and tempo. We're going to change the pitch. Percent change. -4. Let's do a -10. Apply. And here is our artificial Damascus goat bleat. Before alteration, it sounded like this. With alteration, let's alter it more. How do I do that? Like this? No. I don't undo it. It used to be, oh, here. No. Let me grab it back. No one's hearing it. Of course, I forgot. You guys can't hear this. So sorry. This is the one thing that will not play for you guys. My apologies. Looks like we're goatless for this evening. Next up is a suggestion from, I'm going to say, green tea. And it is 20 minutes past the hour. And green tea would like to know, for some reason I'm not pasting here as fast as I want to. Happenings at Crater Lake. Mysterious happenings at Crater Lake. Ooh. Rancor. We used it very recently. I don't want to dip into that well too soon. Thank you, Tina, for the warning, for the caution. Yeah, that's something I have to... I don't know how I could play it. Maybe if I right-click on it. It's still in the folder. As soon as I find the folder again. I think I X'd out of it completely. Here it is. Play with... open with... VOC media player. This ought to work. And the adjusted one was a little deeper than that, but not much. They sounded virtually the same. All right, don't X out, just reduce this time. The mysterious depths of Crater Lake. Spooky stories, rituals. A Pacific Adventure Club. Thank you, Tina. Good moderator. The strange disappearance of Sammy Bohilk from Crater Lake. The dark side of this famous Oregon lake nobody talks about. Let's do that one. It's at thetravel.com. And yet it's a tourist attraction. And a story written by Nicole Hansen. And Ms. Hansen begins. Considering Crater Lake National Park is only fully open for a few weeks every year, it's no surprise that it is one of the lesser visited national parks in the USA. However, as Oregon's only national park, Crater Lake draws fans from around the world as guests flock to the country's deepest lake. That's the deepest lake in the U.S., people. I would imagine. She doesn't say. Perhaps unsurprisingly, those deep blue waters nestled in the mountains are hiding a few skeletons, literally. While Crater Lake is no Lake Mead, which gets the honor of being the deadliest national park in the U.S. The park does see a disproportionate number of accidents compared to its overall visitation. With such deep water, and it is, according to context here, the deepest water in the U.S., and so little development in the region, some wonder if something a little more supernatural is causing the trouble. So what's the story behind Crater Lake's mysterious unaliving? What can future travelers do to avoid becoming the next skeleton in its closet? Kind of pushing that metaphor to one side there. I don't think that metaphor goes there. to avoid becoming the next skeleton in the closet. Nah, not quite. Not quite. Or is it a simile? In either case, what would be a better one? What can future travelers do to avoid the next skeleton going? The next, I could do it in 5 minutes, thinking during dead air, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I guess due to its short open season, Crater Lake averages just over 500,000 visitors every year, with most guests coming between July and September, when the scenic drive around the lake is usually fully open. This low visitation, 500,000 low, I guess in comparison to the other national parks, may be the only reason that Crater Lake has not joined the ranks of national parks with the most missing persons cases. Dinkum Aussie has arrived. Welcome, Dinkum. Dinkum says, good day, everyone. Sorry, I'm at work when I should be kicking back with Bill. Verpine wants to know, how can you avoid being unalive if you are underwater? Crater Lake is further hindered by its remote location, considering the road is covered in feet of snow well into June. That I've never seen. Here in upstate New York, the drive to Crater Lake is relatively barren, devoid of towns or conveniences. Visitors often have to hike into different wilderness areas around the lake, with only the supplies in their vehicle to sustain them. Green Tea says there's a log that floats upright in Crater Lake called the Old Man in the Lake. They don't know how it floats upright. It floats upright. I wonder if they have Old Man in this article. Let's take a quick search here. Control, find Old Man. 0. We'll try to check that out. So it's the Old Man Law. We'll just look for Old Man and in conjunction. In fact, we'll go back and do it now. Not search for it, but plug it into the search. Old Man at Crater Lake. And we'll take advantage of that later. And that's the end of the article. Not. Get rid of this ad. Similar to Mount Rainier in Washington, which has had over 400 missing persons cases. Crater Lake seems to be a magnet for unusual unalivings and disappearances. It has long been the center of rumors and ghost stories. Many Native American tribes lived near the lake, or lived near the lake, and each had a healthy amount of respect for the piercing blue waters. Crater Lake was revered. It was feared, as rumors of creatures both in and around it swirled through the tales of the first peoples. As Crater Lake has become a major tourist attraction, more than one visitor has found that Oregon's original residents may have been right all along. Sasquatch sightings, UFOs, and more than one strange disappearance have led modern visitors to question if Crater Lake isn't cursed. looking at some of the most notable deaths in Crater Lake National Park, it's easy to see where the stories come from. A student at Oregon State University, Sumedh Minar, was enjoying one of the 2 approved swimming areas on Crater Lake, Cleetwood Cove. Minar jumped from a cliff and failed to resurface, triggering a major search. Minar's body was found 90 feet below the surface of the water, on the edge of a major underwater drop-off. His death was significant because it marked the first drowning in the popular swim area. 90 feet. Thank you, Gotchaman, for the link. Gotchaman found it. Thank you, Gotchaman. We will check that out next. Let's move it over here. Whoops. Move, tab. Oh, I just got rid of it. One more time. Move. Thank you so much. We're going to put it there. I'm thinking it's there. Yeah. Given the lingering stories of underwater monsters lurking in the deep, Minar's death sparked a flurry of stories. Well before the days of Instagram, aspiring photographer Charles McCullough arrived at Crater Lake to add to his growing portfolio. He was 19 years old. He planned to spend 2 days around the lake before heading to a friend's house, but he never arrived. Despite another major search that involved the FBI, his body did not reemerge for another year. A ripped backpack on a basically undiscovered trail led to the discovery of McCullough's body, or what was left of it. A ripped backpack on a basically undiscovered trail. No, that's an oxymoron. You can't have an undiscovered trail. It was discovered at some point. How about a rediscovered trail there, mister? It took me 3 seconds to think of an alternative that works. And or ma'am. A ripped backpack, then you don't have to say basically undiscovered. Basically is not good prose anyway, is it? A ripped backpack on a rediscovered trail. Right? Rangers were immediately confused by where they found McCullough, as it was 12 miles from the trailhead. Well, he's a hiker, right? On the day McCullough disappeared, there were 102 inches of fresh snow on the ground. Not exactly long-distance hiking conditions. Well, they got lost, didn't they? And the snow hid the fact that no one else has used the trail very much. Of course, the trees were still standing to the side, the trees in the bushes or whatever. Probably still standing to the side of the trail. And he couldn't see it was a trail he hadn't been on before. Rangers were immediately confused by... Oh, I read that already, sorry. The skeleton itself made the mystery even more complex. All Rangers found were pants and socks, with shin and toe bones sitting nicely inside. No bones from above the shin were found. No shirt, coat, or other clues about what happened to the rest of McCullough. While paradoxically, when you get cold, really, really, really cold, you start taking clothes off. I think that's one of the symptoms of hypothermia, isn't it? To date, the real story of what happened to the young photographer has never been found. It seems even the skies around Crater Lake are not safe. Numerous eerie plane crashes have taken place within the park. Gotchaman has provided the term for it. It's called paradoxical Paradoxical stripping. Gotcha Man tells us. Paradoxical stripping. When you're also suffering from hypothermia. Plane crashes have taken place within the park. But the mysterious disappearance of one pair of Grumman torpedo planes is the most dramatic. It was a perfectly clear day when two Grumman torpedo planes were flying in formation over the lake. One of the pilots looked over at his companion, only to realize the other plane was gone. It was determined the plane crashed into the lake, never to be seen again. With not so much as a cloud in the sky, it felt as though Crater Lake had reached out and pulled the plane in. Tina T says, yes, it's like that when your hands are really cold and you try to run warm water from the sink over them. It burns. Supernatural or simply tragic. These deaths at Crater Lake highlight the mysterious nature of many of the region's accidents. Is that only 2 anecdotes? Some advice about camping. A snowshoer goes missing. I want to find out about the old man real quick. The old man log. Let's go to that. Old man at Crater Lake. Old man of the lake, they call it. Okay, let's get a good article on this. And there it is. Old man of the lake. Let's see if how common that search term is in an image search. Oh, Damascus goat. Old man of the lake. There it is. And that's a boat next to it. Okay. So where's the vantage point of where it's located? Like, is there one that has the shore and both shores in the picture and the log in between? There's one, a really old one. Doesn't look like a very big lake. Oh, Crater Lake. I get it. Look at that. It's in a freaking volcano. What do you call it? There's a name for it. Oh, right on the tip of my tongue. A volcano. The very top of the volcano. I'm not going to get it. The caldera, right. Thank you, T Plateau. Right in the caldera of the volcano. And the black and white looks like the only picture that shows it, unless there's one here. Now the black and white looks like the only one. Wait, that's it as well? No, it's close to shore. It's fairly close to shore. Eternal mystery. Okay, let's use this one then. This shows where it is in relation to the shore. That's what I wanted. And resolution is average. I'll open this in a new tab. So just a couple of boat lengths off the shore, or does it float around? Maybe it floats around because in the black and white picture, you'd think if it was that close to shore, it'd be, from vandalism, it'd be gone already. Somebody take it home. Where's that black and white? This picture, which is also average resolution, kind of shows at a similar length off the shore, like maybe before the dock was there. But it tells you that it's been there for a while. Looks like something taken in the early 1900s. All right, and where's the story about it? National Park Service official, story of the old man. Weather Channel has the mystery of the behind Oregon's Old Man of the Lake. Tree Hugger, dive into the eternal mystery of Old Man of the Lake. Let's do that at treehugger.com. Green Tea says it's one of the deepest lakes in the U.S. I think it moves around, she says. One of the authors said it was the deepest lake in the U.S. That's a deep caldera. Did I open that in a new tab yet? Yes, I did. And this is a story written by Matt Hickman. It's called Crater Lake, right? Crowman wants to know, how deep is it? How deep is Crater Lake in the U.S.? Just under 600 meters. 594 meters, so more than half a click. In feet, over 1,900 feet. That's the maximum depth. Average depth, 350 meters, or 1,100 feet. And Mr. Hickman begins. Ufologist subscribing at Tier 1. Thank you, Drew. Much appreciated, ufologist. He begins, America's national parks offer a lot more than bug bites, bear sightings, and beautiful sunsets. Many are home to eerie, inexplicable, and seemingly otherworldly phenomena. A strange buzzing sound, almost like whispering, originates from the skies around Lake Yellowstone. What about the old man? Dubbed Old Man of the Lake, the hemlock stump in question, more of a log, really, at over 30 feet long, has left park goers scratching their heads for decades. You see, unlike an ordinary log that might placidly drift along the surface of the lake on its side, Old Man of the Lake floats completely upright. A log that bobs along in a vertical fashion. Its splintered and sun-bleached head, roughly 4.5 feet tall and 2 feet in diameter. Oh, look how huge that thing is. There's a guy standing on it. Check out down here. Poking up above the surface of the ultra-crystalline lake. You'd think the Old Man of the Lake was actually the tip-top of a still-standing tree. Still-standing tree. Until you remember that the lake is thousands of feet deep. Well, 2,000. And that rooted trees don't change locations based on direction of the wind. Implying this changes location with the wind. Amazing. An old man doesn't just float. It hustles. Capable of traveling 4 miles in a day. And buoyant enough to support the weight of a man standing on top. As many have probably proved, unless it's now against the regulations at Crater Lake. And in the decades that the Old Man of the Lake has been observed, it's never once drifted completely ashore. That's because the bottom is keeping it from drifting ashore. As reported by former park naturalist John Durr Jr. in September 1938, in a dispatch entitled Wind Currents in Crater Lake, as revealed by the old man of the lake. The earliest accurate date of the Trump's existence was in 1929. It was about that time that the nomadic hemlock stump was bestowed with a proper moniker. It became something of a must-see for park visitors. Okay, guys, we're going on to the last selection. The last selection of the day. At 46 minutes past the hour. We may be going a little long on this one, depending on if I can cover it, my satisfaction or not. Welcome, Big Daddy. Big Daddy X84 is here. He's there with his He's there with his homie. He's there with his homie Jojo, the Tire Man. If they are warranted, my apologies, Tire Man. And your name sounds like they are warranted. And I don't use that word. I really don't. I mean, I don't use that word. But I had a 2-syllable word I knew I was going to say, and the first part was home. Welcome to MX519. I'm in the 518 myself, so I feel your pain. Welcome to MX. It's morning where he is. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, we're going to at 47 past the hour now. Our last suggestion from Erpine. I don't say that word. I know he protesteth too much, right? I freaking don't. I don't use that word. So my apologies. I would say, if anything, if someone was gay, I'd say gay. And or LGBTQ plus or whatever. Shaking my head just because there seems to be more letters added every couple of years. I think you can make a joke about that. I think that's an okay joke. Excuse me. Why are we still on old man? Why did I not do the search correctly? Pasting from Verpine. Not pasting. Try the old F3 trick. It's still there. Try pushing it multiple times. And then try again. There we go. Château de Amerois. Excellent. The castle called the Mothers of Darkness. Verpine has outdone himself once again. Thank you, Verpine. Case number 12, The Horror of Amerois. In Search of the Mothers of Darkness. That's at the world of the supernatural. Let's do that one. Case number 12, which we already read. We also read it's uncredited, maybe at the bottom. Thanks for reading. If you'd like some commentary, check out where we examine. And here we go. This looks like the credit. Third generation Chicagoan, historian, and folklorist, Ursula Bielski. And Ursula begins. Deep in the heart of Europe lies the Ardennes, a forest shrouded in shadow and steeped in blood. Stretching across Belgium and spilling into Luxembourg, France, and Germany, this ancient woodland has borne witness to centuries of history. Towering trees hiding secrets as old as time. A place of haunting beauty. It has served as a sanctuary, a battleground, and a realm where myth and reality intertwine. The Ardennes, a veiled realm of mystery and war. The forest roots stretch deep, not just into the earth, but into legend. In ancient times, it was believed the domain of Arduna, the Celtic goddess of the hunt, whose name still whispers through the forest. How does her name still whisper through the forest? I don't see how that could be true. Unless you're a Celtic researcher who happens to be in the forest. She was said to roam these woods on a wild boar, her presence both feared and revered by those who dared enter the realm. Druids once gathered there in groves, performing rituals beneath the gnarled branches of ancient oaks. The forest was alive to them, not just a place, but a being, watching, waiting. How they know that, they don't say, because no one knows anything about the Druids, except Caesar. As Christianity spread, the Ardennes became a place of retreat for hermits, mystics. Yet even as the holy legions grew, legends of spirits, witches, and werewolves persisted, blending the sacred with the sinister. Even today, the Ardennes remains cloaked in folklore. But if the Ardennes was a sanctuary for some, it was a crucible of death for others. For centuries, its strategic location made it a highway of conquest. Roman legions marched through its thick canopies, pushing the frontiers of empire. In the early medieval era, the forest became a refuge for the defeated, a hiding place for the broken armies of fallen kings. The forest's most defining military chapters, however, were written in blood in World War I, when it became a natural barrier between entrenched armies, its dense growth swallowing soldiers and artillery alike. During the First World War, a patrol of German soldiers commanded by Lieutenant Wolf Werner von Blumenthal of the 2nd Reserve Heavy Cavalry occupied the Château, which left it without major damage, except in the wine cellar. But it was in World War II that the Ardennes earned its most infamous epithet, the Graveyard of Hope. In December 1944, as winter's icy grip choked the land, the German army launched a desperate counteroffensive, known as the Battle of the Bulge. Good movie, by the way. I just rewatched it this year with my wife. She wanted to watch it for some reason. She does. I shouldn't make fun of her. She will watch the occasional war movie with me. But she won't watch anything else that's violent. Nothing else is violent or scary. No horror films for for the better, for my better half. T Plateau says during World War I there was extreme bloodshed in that area. It wasn't just because it happened, but it was supposed to. The war was a ritual sacrifice to that particular deity. Oh, really? Interesting. Thank you, T. Schmatzi forces surged through the Ardennes, their tanks and troops using the forest labyrinth paths to launch a surprise attack on the Allied front. No scary movies, agrees Ms. Tomaszewski. I don't make her watch them. When I ask her, it's just a joke, just to joke with her. She always says no. The Ardennes became a frozen hell. Soldiers fought amid snow-covered trees, their breath-forming clouds mingled with the smoke of battle. The forest conspired against both sides, its treacherous terrain and bitter cold testing human endurance and its limits. The battle left behind a legacy of shattered lives, and the forest was littered with the dead. Even now, remnants of that brutal winter, rusting tanks, scattered shells, unmarked graves, can be found among the undergrowth. Today, the Ardennes stands as a monument to its turbulent past. Is this what we're reading about? What's the topic? I thought there's a different topic. The Mothers of Darkness. Oh, that's the name of the Château? In Search of the Mothers of the Horrors of Amerois. The article has yet to mention Amerois. Let's just search for Amerois. Cut to the chase here. We're not leaving until I finish, though. Amerois. Okay. Deep in the heart of this place, this vast and ancient wilderness, stands a castle that exists as much in myth as in reality. Known formally as Château de Amerois, this structure has earned a far darker moniker among those who dare speak of it: the Castle of the Mothers of Darkness. Reaching the castle is not merely a physical journey, but a psychological one. Travelers who venture too close to the castle often report an unshakable sense of being watched. The air seems to shift, heavy with warning. The land around the castle is an area Roman soldiers once described as cursed. Its dense foliage hiding not just enemies, but apparitions, omens. In medieval times, stories abounded of strange lights and spectral figures between the trees. Today, hikers recount hearing voices in the wind, probably including that of a Celtic goddess. Whispers in languages they cannot recognize, or sudden and unnatural silence. Others describe hearing faint chanting, a mourning sound that seems to emanate from the ground. Even from a distance, the castle looms like a phantom, its spires jagged against the shifting mists. Time has dulled the grandeur of its stonework, yet it remains steadfast and imposing, defying the passage of years. For generations, locals have spoken of the castle with a mixture of reverence and fear. For those who near the castle gates, the journey does not end with relief, but with a deeper sense of unease. The gates are tall and rusted, their ironwork seeming to pulse with their own life. Thwarting the efforts of anyone who tries to come any nearer are tripwires and hidden cameras. Beyond them lies one of the most truly mysterious places on Earth. The story of Château de Amerois begins with its construction in 1877, after a fire destroyed the original structure that stood there. The new home was commissioned by Prince Philippe of Belgium, intended to be a retreat, where the prince and his peers could escape the noise of courtly life, indulging in the luxuries of hunting and feasting and contemplation. Designed in the Gothic Revival style, which I don't know what it looks like. Let's find out. Gothic Revival style. Okay. Gothic Revival. That looks like a good example right here. Looks like the best example. Fantastic resolution. As you can see. Gothic Revival. Characterized, I guess, by these peaks and these arches. The chateau hosted boasted. I know, Tina, right? Tina says, wow, look at that beautiful place. Yeah, that place is gorgeous. The chateau boasted grand halls, luxurious chambers, and a chapel that became its spiritual heart. Though the castle thrived as a noble estate for decades, it began to wane in prominence after the First World War. By the mid-1900s, the once bustling halls had fallen silent. Ownership changed hands, and the chateau became an enigmatic relic, closed to the public and cloaked in secrecy. It was during that period of obscurity that it began to attract a darker reputation. Rumors spread, first through surrounding villages, then through Belgium, then through Europe and the world, of a secretive order known as the Mothers of Darkness. A coven of witches, allegedly operated at the highest levels of power, unseen, yet present. Unlike political leaders or religious figures who exert influence in the public sphere, the mothers were said to control those events from the shadows. According to these tales, the castle served as their sanctuary, their site of initiation, ritual, council. These women were believed to be the custodians of esoteric knowledge, passed down through the maternal line. Beneath the castle, it is said, lies a labyrinth of chambers and tunnels, their walls etched with symbols too ancient to decode. Here the mothers performed rituals to connect them with forces beyond human comprehension. Some accounts speak of invocations to summon entities or gain insight into the universe. Others describe more sinister ceremonies involving blood offerings and acts meant to transgress the boundaries of morality. Then we have the modern allegation, which doesn't have anything to do with the mothers. So I think we'll stop there. We did a bunch of stuff about unaliving and missing people, and that's more of this stuff here. So people, do not forget. Oh, it isn't there anymore. But coming up this Wednesday, remember to catch that video that was banned by YouTube. Until then, may God bless and protect you all.